Is it time? It's time. Welcome to the Corvette Museum Anniversary and Hall of Fame weekend. Great to see everybody here. And we're your hosts, Josh Holder, Chief Engineer.
We were debating how many of you have seen some of this stuff before. There's going to be a lot of experts in the room, so you can all criticize as we're going through this.
You can't get it enough.
Right.
If it's good, you won't need it all the time.
Yeah.
So here's, this is 70 years, we just celebrated 70th anniversary. We're actually here at the museum. June 30th was the opening of the video wall. And this is what 70 years looks like on one page. I remember when I first started on Corvette, I went to an event. It was mostly a classic Corvette event. And one of these gentlemen said, I don't really care about Corvettes after 1967. So that's like the second row when you're done. So we've done a lot of cars since then. A lot of good ones. So this is the part where we get to brag about stuff. This is like my favorite part. We can just brag and talk about all the awards and accolades. So the Corvette now, it's 3 years in a row, J.D. Power quality winners. Best quality score, not only just in, well, we had in our segment 3 years in a row, but actually last year, we were the #1 model in quality across the whole industry in every car segment. Corvette was the winner. So tell your friends, if anybody's buying something from Europe or Japan or Korea or somewhere else, they're better off buying American. They can have better quality of life and a lot more fun in a Corvette. We also ranked highest in Consumer Reports and a recommended buy on Corvette, and also the highest score of would you buy it again. I don't get that it wasn't 100%, to be honest. I don't know who those others are. And then also the Kelly Blue Book Resale Award. It's easy to win that when you guys are selling them for more than you paid for them, so that's how we win that one. And then Car and Driver 10 Best Award. We've had that for quite a while, but every year this generation we've gotten that, and they praise the overall usability of the Corvette. And then the Lightning Lap, which Car and Driver does this, has been doing this for a lot of years now at Virginia International Raceway, and they tested the Z06, won our prize class easily, but actually is the 5th fastest car they've ever tested ever. Actually beating the previous ZR1, which was the previous 5th place, and the cars above it are many times more expensive, and actually with the fastest naturally aspirated car also that they ever did. And then Motor Trend had the Performance Vehicle of the Year award, went to the Corvette Z06. And Road and Track Performance Car of the Year also went to the Corvette Z06. So everybody agrees. And then so let's look at, this is our as of end of June, this is not the total final, but it's close to it. But you think about it, this is gonna be the highest production Corvette ever at Bowling Green, and only one of 3 that were over 50,000 in the 70 years of Corvette. So how great is that? In the 8th generation Corvette, mid-engine, 70th anniversary year, we had such a great year as well. And it's fun to look at the colors, and it broke it up. The Stingray Torch Red remains #1. Z06, a lot of people going for the black, a little more sinister look. Also the 70th anniversary cars, interior, black then red are the most popular. And we're really starting to, the Z06 we had, a slow start, but really started to build those a lot faster. We did 1,000 Z06s in a month. So it's one of the highest Z06 months. So I know everybody that has one order and hasn't gotten theirs yet, when they're gonna get theirs, but we're really doing our best to try to fix that, obviously. And then some of the other options. I know you guys like to look at this. You look at the wheels. The new black wheel has been very popular, the 20 spoke, as long as the carbon flash. A lot of people like the Z51 package on the Stingray, obviously. That's a good choice. And anniversary is about 10% of all the Stingrays. Front lift, over half the cars are getting front lift. And a lot of people are getting brake color, well over half the people get some kind of brake color option, things like that. And then on the Z06, even a higher percentage on the anniversary. Even with some of the issues we have with carbon fiber, you look at that, about a third of the cars had the carbon aero package, and the Z07, almost 30% of Z06s, getting about 3/4 of people getting that front lift, protect that front splitter, obviously. And the new carbon fiber level 2 package, FA6, where you get all that carbon fiber, doing great. 30% of people got that one. And of course, the black wheel is most popular on the Z06 also. And so a lot of people are asking me about the anniversary edition. Looks like we're going to end up just over 5,600 70th anniversary editions built, which is great. About 2/3 got the white pearl versus the carbon flash. About a third of the people got the stripes. And then on the Z51 version, a lot of Z51 packages, about a third of the Z06s. And then convertible, also about 2/3 of the anniversaries were convertibles. So I'm sure you can read this really well, but I just want to let you guys know that we really keep track of all the interior and exterior combinations. Like somebody at Carlisle asked me the other day, they had, again, everybody, you're entitled to your own choices. We're not going to judge anyone. So he had a red mist, but he had the dipped adrenaline red interior. And he wanted to know, he goes, I must be the only one that got that in a Z06 convertible. I was like, we looked it up. Nope, you're one of 7. There's 6 other people with the same taste as you, believe it or not. So we always show that the biggest, of course we race on the track, but the biggest race is in the showroom. And look, we have about 44% market share. Corvette remains clearly on top. One of the things, though, we showed this a lot, but one of the things a lot of people ask me about the age. We're really at the segment median right now with Corvette, right? The same average age as everybody else, and we're actually the #1 sports car for people under 35. So thanks to everybody that lets, the younger guys and girls and whoever look at your car, sit in your car, brag about how great it is, and hopefully we'll also get a lot of new faces here at the Corvette Museum as well going forward. And then let's talk about racing. I know this is a lot of events here at racing, but you probably all know this, but I got to say it anyway. We raced at the 100th anniversary of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and there were 21 entries, 8 Porsches, 7 Ferraris, 5 Aston Martins, and the thing they had in common, they finished behind the 1 Corvette that we had there. So it's a great statement for Corvette. And then, they challenged us. We used to just go to the Le Mans race on that series. Of course, we raced the IMSA. Oh, this came out weird. Anyway, slide's a little funky. But anyway, the point is we've won with 2 races to go, we've won the World Endurance Championship. So that's the global World Endurance Championship for sports cars. Think about it, that's a world championship for Chevrolet and Corvette. I don't know if we've ever had that before. I mean, we've won the IMSA, which is mostly a North American one. And actually, we won at VIR last weekend, so we're still alive for the IMSA GT Le Mans Pro Champion, or GT Daytona, Pro Champion as well. So, and then we got the next year's car here, right on display here, with the new Z06 GT3R. So, of course, 2023 was all about the Corvette Z06 bringing racing technology for the street. And where do we go from there? What do we do for 24? Of course, it's all about the new Corvette E-Ray. Drama. Wait, back up. So,
defying nature. It's what defines the all-new 2024 Corvette E-Ray, the quickest Corvette ever. With 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. An electrified all-wheel drive that handles all 4 seasons. With a 6.2-liter V8 plus an electric drive motor to power the front wheels for unparalleled traction. A force on the track or off. Beauty finding strength in the extremes. "70 years in the making. The next chapter of Corvette. A supercar of contrasts. It's everything you never expected. One like none."
Pretty cool, huh? That video is also on loop in the museum on the tour, so if you can't get enough of that, you can go stand back there and watch that over and over. A little bit of backstory, that, of course, videos are kind of the new way to reveal cars. Our communications team uses a term called reach. That's how many people saw your reveal. And of course, a live reveal, you're in a limited space and you can only get so many people there. And so doing videos like this are a new and exciting way to show what's new for all products, and especially a car like Corvette. The person driving the car in the video is one of our chassis controls wizards. So he is an engineer. He's not a paid actor, spokesperson, or a model. But I can tell you after this video, he's getting a lot of guff about what a great actor and model he is. That last scene where he's getting out of the car was in Salt Lake City at 2 o'clock in the morning. So nothing much going on in Salt Lake City at 2 o'clock in the morning. Good place to film that. But the team did a lot of work doing that, a lot of in-house work doing that. There's the scene where the car's driving through the fog. So you have to make fog. We got to make special effects with a fog machine. And Ken was talking about how nerve-wracking it was to get the car up to speed, and you drive into a cloud, you can't see anything. And of course, there's people on the backside with radios telling them, "Oh no, it's clear, you're good." But imagine just driving into something blind, hoping for the best. So on January 17th, 1953, everybody in here knows what happened. January 17th, 2023, we revealed the E-Ray. We were in a few locations. We had a spot, Harlan and some team were in New York City. Myself and a few engineers were at Milford getting to do some drive experiences on Black Lake. And then we had a group in California. So trying to, again, spread out the reach that we talk about and talk about a car that really is all new, especially for Corvette. It's a new formula, a new mission for us. And Harlan likes to point out that 53 in the foreground had 150 horsepower. Well, the E-Ray has 160 horsepower just on the front axle, so we've come a long, long way for sure.
Plus 495 on the rear axle.
Yeah, there's a little bit more that goes with it. This also is not a new idea. So in 1964, Zora and team, of course, they'd finished the Serve 1. They go to work on Serve 2, and a big mission of that car was to explore capabilities of all-wheel drive. What can all-wheel drive do for performance? Can the hardware earn its way onto the car in terms of its performance enhancement? Obviously, it has a lot of grip. It can do some pretty blistering acceleration times when you have that much traction. And in 1964, 2.8 seconds was unheard of. It's still awesome. And now we've got the E-Ray that can do so much more.
That is a 10.4, which means the E-Ray beat the Italian supercars.
How is that? Anyone driving a Ferrari or a Lamborghini is once again looking at the taillights of a Corvette. If you haven't checked that out online, that video by Jason Camisa is very, very well done. It's a pretty cool thing to watch. One thing, a lot of things about the E-Ray make up what's great about it. And it's why I'm pretty sure Harlan coined the term the Swiss Army knife of Corvettes. It does everything really, really well. And we decided a long time ago to electrify the Corvette. It wasn't because of a mandate or what you hear recently about the world converting to electric vehicles. This was well before that talk, and this was all about enhancing performance. So we can use electrification to recover kinetic energy that all vehicles in motion have when you're coasting and on the brake. That energy is just wasted as heat. We can steal some of that back, store it in a battery, and redeploy it in a way that brings a big wide smile to the face of anyone driving an E-Ray. So there's a lot of cool stats. Of course, the 0 to 60s, what's most incredible. A few of us have had a chance to drive the E-Ray. And I can tell you when you do a controlled launch in an E-Ray, for the first time, the acceleration is near violent. You're thinking, oh my God, what just broke? Is it me? Am I blind? To feel that kind of blistering acceleration, that the tires on the Corvette, on the E-Ray, when you add them up, they're more than 4 feet wide. So imagine 4 feet of tire, all providing tractive effort to the road, provides a pretty amazing experience.
Your stomach's 2 blocks behind, basically.
Yeah. And of course, it can do a lot of other things really well. That's what makes it the Swiss Army knife. We didn't do electrification for efficiency, but it happens to be pretty efficient. The way it does that energy transfer I talked about can result in some good fuel economy numbers, especially for a car with a big, wide, aggressive stance like the E-Ray and the Z06 has, that big, wide tire I talked about. It makes for some efficient driving. It can also, as you saw in the video, and I've seen some horseplay, we got another video later, it's pretty awesome in the winter on snow. Again, it wasn't the mission of the E-Ray. It was all about canyon carving where most people drive a Corvette. But the E-Ray happens to do that really well, too. We've been on some development rides. We have a winter test facility in Kinross, Michigan. And driving the E-Ray off of the test site, of course, it does really well on our test surfaces, but we like to test it off surfaces. We were passing snowmobiles and a line of Corvettes. And I wish I could have snapped a picture of the faces of the people riding snowmobiles when they saw a line of Corvettes drive by, but it's pretty great. The other thing I want to mention, and I think the media caused some of this confusion, you know, that we've got non-mainstream automotive media covering this all-new car like the E-Ray. And they talk about how it's electric, and yeah, it's got an electric motor in it, but it's not all electric, and they say it's a hybrid. Well, yes, it's a hybrid, but it's not the hybrid most people are used to, so a lot of people thought that you had to plug it in. There's no charge port for the E-Ray. You don't have to go buy a charger. You can buy a charger for your electric car if that's what you want, but you don't need one for the E-Ray. You don't have to worry about that, and you don't have to worry about the battery. It's all maintained, its state of charge is all maintained in an automatic way.
If you want to get a good reaction out of Josh, ask him what the charging standard is for the E-Ray after we're done.
I tell people, if you take one thing away about E-Ray, besides its awesome performance numbers, tell all your friends you don't have to plug it in. All right, and the competition that E-Ray, we're not the first to electrify a sports car, but we're the first to do it in this way, especially at this price point, which is pretty awesome considering the competition. And nobody does electrified sports car that's all-wheel drive and keeps a V8. Most of the solutions involve an electric motor between the engine and the transmission somewhere, and to save space, they're going from a V8 to a V6. And Harlan and I and a few others are pretty sure that you guys would not want a V6 in your
How many
Corvette.
people would rather have a V6 than a V8? Show of hands.
Another thing to point out, some competitors, and there's nothing wrong with this mission, but it's not what we did, they will use electrification to supplement the torque curve in their internal combustion engine. So maybe it's not broad and flat, maybe it doesn't have a lot of low-end torque. Well, the LT2 does not have a compromised torque curve. It's awesome. And so our solution was, instead of supplementing something that doesn't need supplementation, we're going to complement it. So the electric motor, all motors make peak torque at 0 RPM. It's making power when the LT2 is making power. So the combined 655 horsepower is not just a paper exercise. You feel it driving in the car. And we intended that to add those two machines together to provide this awesome driving experience. Here's some of the stuff you can't see in the two cars sitting out there, but the first is the high voltage battery pack. Nested in the structural tunnel, all Corvettes are convertibles. A coupe, you can take the roof out. We cannot react torsional and bending loads through the roof of a Corvette. So all the frames of Corvette, the chassis structure of Corvettes, have the center backbone tunnel, we call it. We want it to be as big as possible for rigidity and stiffness and efficiency. We also want it to be lightweight. And we were planning the C8. We were working on the solution. We knew we were going to do this. So the E-Ray wasn't like, oh, we launched a Stingray, maybe we can throw an electric motor and a battery in it and see what happens. That's not how it was designed. We knew from the beginning, working with the battery team, that, by the way, they weren't used to working on performance cars. So we had to say, hey, we're not doing this for fuel economy. We'll take what we can get, but we're doing this for fun. Help us architect a battery and the power electronics that will nestle into the body structure as we're designing the body structure, so we don't miss out on something by a few millimeters. So these were designed together. The electric motor, the drive motor generator in the front of the car, also fits into the body structure so that we didn't have to compromise what the E-Ray is good. It's an amazing grand touring car. There was, of course, lots of rumors before we revealed it that this might be happening, and most people thought, well, they're going to take away the frunk, because that's where the electric motor should go. But we were able to keep that intact because, again, we planned from the beginning where to nestle this electric motor.
In the development of E-Ray, one of the things we did is went on a trip climbing snowy mountain roads in the middle of the winter in search of the road or the conditions that the car couldn't overcome, and we weren't able to find that.
The world is your playground. You now have this unleashed 4-season capacity where you can go canyon carving, spirited driving through twisty roads, through mountain passes, through mixed conditions. And the all-wheel drive system brings a whole nother dynamic into it. The E-Ray can comprehend every surface you're driving on and adjust the all-wheel drive balance to be optimal for the situation at hand.
The all-wheel drive system really makes use of every one of those 655 horsepower. Having all that on tap is great, but if you can't get it down to the road, it's not worth a whole lot.
The E-Ray comes with the Michelin Pilot Sport All Season 4 Plus, which was uniquely designed for the E-Ray with Michelin.
The tire is part of the key in what gives the car that really lightning fast pace, great responsiveness that can handle all kinds of weather condition. This is a car you could drive year-round, every day. Although it can be a very comfortable, easy to drive touring car, the E-Ray is also a weapon on the track.
It really brings all of these systems together to be that ultimate Corvette. E-Ray completely breaks the mold of a fair weather sports car.
Yeah, so you guys know where you are, like at the couple months, you're saying, oh, shed a tear, I'm putting the car away for the winter, maybe I'll see it next spring. If you have an E-Ray, you don't have to do that anymore. You can drive it all year if you want to.
And part of that mission of allowing us to be able to drive it all year if you want to is working, again, with our partners at Michelin to develop the largest all-season tire. It has a lot of capability that really makes the E-Ray shine in all weather. So we know that a lot of people aren't going to throw their Corvette around in the snow for horseplay. If you want to, it's super fun. But what we hope this does, what it will do, is inspire confidence. Say, especially, I grew up out west. You might head out from the valley and it's nice and sunny and warm, but where you're going requires a mountain pass and the clouds are dark. You don't have to decide, I might leave my Corvette at home because I'm not sure what the weather will bring. You can drive the E-Ray anywhere at any time. We did some things to offset the mass that we had to add for the battery and the electric motor. The first step was to make those new components as lightweight as possible. The battery and the power electronics are packaged in a composite case structure that bolts into the tunnel, the part I was talking about before. The front drive motor is tiny. It makes 160 horsepower, and the armature is about the size of a coffee can. It's amazing. And it sits inside a magnesium case that's fastened with aluminum bolts. The 12-volt battery that runs the rest of the electrical system in the Corvette, including starting the LT2, is a lithium-ion battery, another place we could save some weight. And then we took a parts bin, a proven part from the Z06, the J57 brake system, and used that on the E-Ray. The car's certainly got a lot of capability, so it benefits from that brake system, but we save a lot of important unsprung mass in a sports car. We've got some cool new wheels. I've had a lot of people tell me that they think this is the coolest wheel that we've done in a long time. I happen to agree. Along with some new finishes, people still asking for chrome wheels. I don't think chrome is going to happen maybe ever or anytime soon. I usually don't say ever, so that's a pretty bold statement. But we do have a polished wheel that at least brings that brightness back, and you don't add the chemicals and the weight. Again, chrome adds weight. Us engineers are fanatics about it. You get the black wheels and the what is it? Pearl nickel, sorry. The pearl nickel finish. So even the standard wheel on an E-Ray it's an awesome looking wheel. We included some body color accents, so while it shares the body panels with the Z06, we're trying again to differentiate it so people know, hey, this car is not a Z06. It's something different and special in its own way. So allowing or introducing the body color accents on the E-Ray is a way to set that off. Along with the wheels, you can tell that car is an E-Ray. And then the badge design. There is a creature called an electric ray. It's not a very attractive looking creature. So we didn't copy it exactly, but we morphed the Stingray to show again that this car is something special.
And we actually trademarked E-Ray back in 2015 in anticipation of this. You know, we're looking at different names, you know, and it was so cool that there was an electric ray. And anything about it, and you guys on the forums, you know, things like that get leaked out, which everybody knew right away. They must be doing some kind of Corvette with some kind of electrification, that the name, you know, translated that right away. And so that stuck with us, and that's what we came out with.
Right, and of course trademarks are public, and to Harlan's point, that's what started. Hey, there's going to be an electric Corvette, and the rumors that, oh, the motor will fit in the trunk, and there'll be a bunch of compromises, and that is not what was done. We, of course, bring some of the details inside the car. People love carbon fiber. Everywhere you can get it, they'll take it. So we're adding some of the content that we introduced with Z06 back into E-Ray, and of course we have unique badging on the steering wheel and the waterfall between the seats and the door sills. Here's a welcome animation that plays. So when you wake up your E-Ray and you see the instrument cluster that shows on the cluster, again, another way to show what's special and different about the E-Ray. Special gauges. So we have a hybrid battery gauge. That's pretty important when especially when you're exercising the car on something like a racetrack. You want to know the state of charge of the battery and where the power flow is going. On normal driving, it's just fun to look at, to watch, especially if you're a tech geek. It's nice to watch where all these power flows are going. When you step on the brake, you can see it regenerating energy. When you get on the throttle, you can see it propelling the car. It's just entertaining and enlightening to watch. This is our stealth mode cluster display. So I didn't mention it was in the slide, but one of the cool things about an E-Ray is you can operate in pure electric mode. So to start the car, there's a handshake, we call it. You turn the drive mode, you press the start button, it'll ask you if you want to be in electric mode, you select it, press the start button, and you can operate in pure electric mode. One of the common use cases we like to imagine is a neighborhood exit mode. So some of us that have the luxury of driving Corvettes every day, our neighbors may not appreciate us leaving at all, especially our early morning starts in a Z06. So I know my neighbors appreciate the E-Ray. But it's a cool feature. I've used it in some more public spaces, and people that aren't used to a Corvette not making sound, that usually drops their jaw. But we also want to communicate what's going on as you transition from electric mode. Again, this is not something you have to worry about. If you get deep into the throttle, if your battery state of charge gets low, the LT2 is going to start automatically. You don't have to worry about it. But this is a way we're showing you what's happening. The engine's starting, the catalyst is lighting off, we're getting them warm, and then we're in full power mode. And by the way, while this is going on, we're using the electric motor to provide extra boost because we don't want this to be a clunky transition. We want everything about driving the E-Ray to be seamless and smooth. This is another cool toy. So if you get tired of staring at your nav screen when you know full well where you're going, you just put it up there because it's something to look at. Or maybe you're looking at album art and you know the song is playing. You can look at this. This shows a bunch of power flow data that's unique to the E-Ray. And this app is called the E-Ray app and only in the E-Ray. And it shows the power flows. You can decide to show power or torque. It shows the battery state of charge and how it's flowing. You can change the time scale. You can pause it. You can look back. Say you did a maneuver and you want to see what was going on, and maybe you had to concentrate on the drive at the moment. You want to look back. It does lots of cool things.
Performance app
Here's a
display.
demo.
Watch gauge operation under acceleration, deceleration, and the power flow illumination graphic in the middle. Heavy acceleration. You can see the engine light up and fill. White rear axle. Orange fill, now braking. Heavy regen on the left. Front axle glowing in the center.
So that video was made by our lead development engineer, Mike Kuchar, who was instrumentally, this car wouldn't be what it is without Mike's involvement. He worked on the EV1. So he's been doing electric cars at General Motors for quite a while, and he brought his electrification experience to us in Corvette. We were very, very happy to have him. His daughter was filming this as he was driving to show this demo. And one of the things that doesn't really come through in the video, you can hear the engine, but when you drive the E-Ray, especially hard on the throttle, you can hear the electric motor. It makes a cool sound. It's a cool machine, and it adds to the experience of what makes an E-Ray different to drive than any other Corvette.
And of course, I've talked to a lot of people. We have the configurator online, so you can design your E-Ray online right now, as well as all the other 24 Corvettes. You can have a lot of fun doing that at Chevy.com. And some of the other new features we have, we showed this car, it's been in a lot of the pictures. We have a new electric blue stripe that's exclusive to the E-Ray. And then new colors. These colors are on all the new 24 Corvettes. We have a new SEAWOLF gray, which is a tri-coat color. We have the RIPTIDE blue, and we have the cacti green. And actually, we've been getting good responses to all three, actually, when we've had them here at the museum and at Carlisle. And then we have ARTEMIS leather interior, which is a new color. Actually, Josh's gray car outside has that interior. And it's really, it's a unique kind of really luxury sport, kind of a khaki gray-green color, which really gives a new look. And it goes well with the cacti also. And here's another new feature that applies to all our new convertibles. Now, the one thing, you know, we hear everybody, the one thing, everybody loves the new retractable hardtop convertible. The only thing they say, I miss that coupe, you know, you can see the engine a lot easier. So we came out with a engine appearance package so that you can easily, by lifting up the tonneau, you can show out when people say, I want to see the engine, which they always do, or you just want to see it. You can see the engine on display, and it also opens up the engine options, like the different color engine covers, or if you have a Z06, you can get the red intake also. And that'll be available for 24. And then you're going to ask me, what if I have a previous year car? Well, the part is a bolt-on, so later this year, that'll be available as a part that you could retrofit any 2020 and newer Corvette convertible. So we think that a lot of people will be happy about that. And then, not to forget the Stingray, of course. Stingrays are bread and butter. We have some new wheels, 5-spoke, split-spoke wheels available for Stingray in both bright machined and a satin graphite with a machine edge. And there also is a new accessory wheel, which is a more avant-garde design, I think, that's available, 15-spoke. And then all the new 24 Corvettes have a new suite of safety features. These are features a lot of people have asked for, pretty common today across Chevrolet and a lot of other manufacturers, but things like the automatic emergency braking, following distance, forward collision alert, lane departure warning, and a telebeam, high beam assist. So these features, you know, Corvette's a driver's car, so what we try to do, of course, you can, if you don't like to use them, you don't have to, but we tried to make it so people would want to, so we tried to make them as least intrusive as possible. So I got to be honest, I thought I was a pretty good driver, so I've been driving around and things beeping, following too close, going over the line. I had no idea. I always thought I was pretty good, but
We knew he was a bad driver,
teach you a
but
lesson.
that showed him.
And then another fun thing we've done, you know, we have all the Corvettes have the driver mode selector knob in the middle, you know, tour, sport, track, weather, functions. We've come up with a kind of a new way to display as you change the different modes. There's videos that display in the center screen that apply to whatever mode you're selecting. Just another fun visual way to see the different modes on your Corvette. And then new racing stripes. I talked about, we have some new things. We've made them a little bit wider, so a bit more visible. And then we also come out with, in addition to the colors, if you just want a little bit of color, we have the carbon flash accent. So the majority is carbon flash, and there's a pinstripe kind of on the outside of the different colors if you just want more of a little accent versus a full color. Just for a second. Whoop. So how many people have heard of Forza Motorsport? A few of you. That's better than I thought. Okay, good. So, you know, Forza is a popular driving simulator video game for the Xbox made by Microsoft. And, you know, cool thing, you know, these games have been out for the year. You know, people of all ages like them, but you like to see your car in them. We also want to expose the Corvette, especially the E-Ray, to people of all ages, get that Corvette excitement, even if you don't have your driver's license yet. So Xbox and Forza, they chose the Corvette E-Ray as one of the cover cars for the new Forza that's coming out pretty soon. And so here's, I'll go back, here's the video.
I know you're ready. You've got this. Let's tweak the car's performance for the next one.
I'm feeling the vibe, taking my time like deep in the maze, making my shine bright. Whoa, I gotta make it, I'm going sky high. Never hold back, right. Yeah, I'm rolling,
That was your best lap yet.
So that's a lot of fun. I don't know if we endorse all the modifications that were made in the game to the car in real life, but it's, you know, you can drive it, modify it, so you can enjoy everybody can enjoy the Corvette. And they'll have the other Stingrays and Z06 too in the game as well.
And I know, of course, some younger people play the Xbox, but I know older people, my age and older, that play Xbox too. The great thing, as Harlan mentioned, getting younger enthusiasts that maybe aren't in the market for a Corvette yet or don't even have their driver's license excited about the brand goes a long way. And while it showcased E-Ray, it really showcases Corvette and all the things that are cool about it.
Yeah, and so a lot of people may have seen this. Was here for the bash. He was the star of the bash. Cyclone, which you need an all-wheel drive car to do. And you can see that's the performance data recorder video. You don't watch it. We haven't eaten lunch yet, so you can watch it. But it was fun. They actually needed a crane to bring the car down. You can't really drive the car onto the ice rink in Rockefeller Center. And then when we were done, we couldn't really get it out right away, so everybody was just skating around the car all day. So that was fun. But it was a great way to, introduce the E-Ray to a national audience. So thanks. Of course, we've made a cover, a Motor Trend, but I guess you might have a question. Does anybody have questions? Any chance? Thanks. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, thanks, Max.
When you transition from electric to the LT2, does it kick the starter or does it bump start?
It uses the starter, so the engine has a dedicated starter, just like all LT2s has. This one's a little more beefed up because it comes with start-stop capabilities and some other features, so we want it to start as quickly as possible. But it starts just the engine. It doesn't bump start it, which could be possible. But we wanted that smooth driving experience I was talking about, so we're going to start the engine with a regular engine starter.
One more, if I may. At cruise speed, steady state, is the battery contributing anything to that, or is it just waiting for you to hit the loud pedal?
At cruise speed, steady state, flat ground, the battery and the electric motor aren't generally doing a lot. But most roads aren't flat, and most speeds aren't constant. So like driving here from Michigan, for example, there's rolling hills. And as I go up a hill, I can see and feel the electric motor boosting the internal combustion engine. Here's a way we use the electrification to save fuel economy. When you're cruising, you're not necessarily asking for performance. You want to get the most efficiency out of the car you can. So we use active fuel management. In the E-Ray, we use it's a term called AFM, Active Fuel Management Extension. So we'll use the electric motor to supplement the internal combustion engine for as long as we can to keep it in 4-cylinder mode for fuel economy. And we don't like to switch in and out of it. That's kind of an annoyance. So once you're there, you want to stay there as long as you can. So going up the hill, you'll see the electric motor boosting, and as soon as you crest or go down, you'll see us stealing, we call it free beer. Anytime we can take energy, we're going to try to take it and keep the battery steady charged where it needs to be.
Tom
has a
Wallace here.
question.
Tom Wallace here. Harlan knows I have a reputation of running out of gas, okay? If I run out of gas in an E-Ray and the battery's full, do I have a couple of miles that I can get to the gas station?
Don't run out of gas. But if you do, yes, we actually have another feature too. It's called shuttle mode. And it was really designed to move the car around like in a garage, and you could do that like 15 miles an hour, but you could drive it that way, or you could do, you could get a little bit out of that, but a few miles, but that's about it.
By the way, Tom's not the only one. I like to hypermile, get as far as I can. So I drove a Stingray from my house in Michigan to here. It was 505 miles, got all the way here, no stops, nothing, never stopped for gas. And the Shell station was full, and I'm impatient. So I thought, well, I'm going to get something to eat anyway. So I went to Wendy's and grabbed something, waiting for the Shell station to clear out. And between Wendy's and the Shell station, I ran out of gas. In the E-Ray, when you go into stealth mode, we do a bunch of checks in the background because we want to guarantee, this is for highway driving, that the engine is always going to start. So in Tom's scenario, in my scenario, we would not let you go into stealth mode because we say you don't have enough fuel to safely start the engine, but you can use shuttle mode, as Harlan talked about. Running out of gas is a use case. The more common use case is moving the car around your garage or at home. I've had a few times where I'm just getting the car and it's not great for an engine to start it for a short cycle and then shut it off. So there's a lot of cool
One of the use cases I use it for a lot, you're on a trip, you stop at the gas station or one of those truck stops, and then you hit your gas and you just want to move it, 20 yards to park it by the store. I put it in shuttle mode, just zip it right in, so you don't have to start and stop it, the whole car again. Yeah, back there.
Hey, Josh, are we going to see more of you at these events?
Are you asking to see more of me at these events?
Well, sure, why not?
Usually, you can ask anybody on the team, they see way too much of me. So I'm usually asked not to be. If I don't absolutely have to be there, can I stay away? No, I've been.
Who wants more Josh? Yay!
Thank you, I appreciate that. But I do come to as many Corvette events as I can. I'm also a customer, big fan.
I'm a ASE certified mechanic with a repair shop in Lakeland, Florida. We only fix Priuses, and the problem we found with start-stop is that the head gaskets don't last because of the heat cycles. It's the same engine used in a Corolla that's used in a Prius, but in a Corolla, the head gasket lasts 280,000 miles. In a Prius, it lasts about 180. So have you guys heat cycled that engine enough times that we know if it's going to last?
So the question was a little bit hard to hear. We were talking about head gasket and durability, especially as it relates to stop-start, and whether or not we've tested. I say a lot. I think it would bore most people, except engineers and probably yourself, to show more videos of testing. People would not believe the punishment we put not only the full vehicle through, but all the subsystems through, including the engine, running for many, many hours at full throttle. And in a start-stop engine, we're cycling that a lot. So it's thoroughly tested, thoroughly vetted, all backed by a great warranty. But we've not had problems with stop-start related to head gaskets. Actually, I already mentioned that we beefed up the starter. Our experience, the hardest, the most heavily loaded part is the starter itself, just cycling the starter. But the engine is not bothered by it.
She's fast.
Harlan, can you confirm or deny, is there any exploration into a Corvette SUV?
A Corvette SUV? I can't, no, there's no Corvette SUV. Does anybody want a Corvette SUV? Okay, so there's no Corvette SUV. You know, they have these programs out now, I think they're artificial intelligence where you can kind of cross cars together. So people are just having such a good time on the internet, creating, you know, putting sports cars and trucks together. And
clickbait gets people to check it out. Then they can display an ad that you read and get revenue.
Harlan?
Yeah.
One of your early slides, when you talked about the total sales for the year, I think it was around 53.4. And I think the date on the slide was June 23. Are we going to surpass the record, 53.8?
That's a good question on the record. So I think we're definitely got the Bowling Green record. The highest was in 79. I should have done a quiz. I forgot. No. I always like to quiz people, but that one might be. I think we might be just short of that one, but we'll be the highest at Bowling Green. So probably going to be the second highest. I think is where we'll end up. But again, you know, that's it. And again, those numbers include cars that aren't built yet. Just to be clear, they're all the orders that we have scheduled to be built in the bank. So close, but pretty amazing year nonetheless. Yeah, there you go. Maybe an American Army knife. Yeah.
Any luck on carbon fiber supply? Is that looking up?
So, do you want to go?
So I mentioned before when I was talking about interior trim how popular carbon fiber is. The demand is through the roof. I've been working on Corvette for a long time, more than 22 years, and when I first came to Corvette, we were using carbon fiber the way it was intended, for stiffness and lightweighting and strength. And we still use it that way, but it wasn't the decorative material it's become in the auto world. And so that demand has, like everything, taxed our suppliers. So carbon fiber as a raw material generally is available. That's not the problem. The problem has been largely with being able to mold and produce those components at volume, and there is a team, a lot of people inside of GM, not just on the Corvette, but we get high priority because we are very popular and high demand. to leverage the company and the resources to make sure that our suppliers that are making carbon fiber for us, for example, are making Z06 parts over anything else. So we can get as much and meet the demand as possible. And then in addition to that short-term scheduling to meet the demand, we are capacitizing suppliers with more tooling. They have challenges like everybody does. Carbon fiber is expensive because the material is expensive, but it's really more expensive because it takes a very keen technical skill to be able to lay it up in a mold. It's super labor intensive. If anyone's watched a carbon fiber part being manufactured, after you pay thousands of dollars for that part, you feel like you're getting a deal after watching how much labor was put into making the part. So workforce remains a challenge, and it's not just anyone that can make carbon fiber. They have to be trained, brought up to speed, retained as an employee. And so I can promise, while it's frustrating for people that might be waiting for it, maybe you want carbon fiber and you can't get it now, we know and we are working really hard to get as much carbon fiber as we can.
All right, we got time for one more. Who has a really good one? Let's go back there.
When are you going to start building the 24 models? Is that? I mean, there's two questions. When are you going to start building the Stingrays, and then when are you going to start building the E-Ray?
Very soon. I looked down at Ray, and he just validated. We are going to start building 24s very soon. First, we got to get the 23s done. We'll finish those, and then we'll go right to 24. Not next month, but not next week. How's that for an answer?
When do we get allocation? So for 24, it's going to, we're going to start Stingray and Z06, then E-Ray. So E-Ray's a little bit after the rest. So you can submit orders to the dealership for E-Rays right now, and they'll probably pull in the orders, in about a month or so. Start pulling them in.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Harlan. Thank you, Josh. Here in just a few moments, we are going to get started with our Hall of Fame roundtable featuring the 2023 class.